Yo, yo, yo. What up, everybody? Everybody has been waiting today after the controversial call, reversed no call from last night, Celtics Pacers game. Last 2 minute report just dropped. I literally have not even seen it yet. Greg, you texted us, it dropped. Let's talk. Walk us through it.
Okay, well, first of all, the call that everybody has been wanting to talk about, the Buddy Hield foul that was then reversed, that led to the Aaron Nesmith rebound that wasn't really a rebound that led that led to the Celtics losing the game. The NBA, they stuck by their guns, man. They said that this was a foul. They said that it was a kind of inadvertent contact to the head. It was incidental. It says, as the rule book makes clear, the mere fact that contact occurs does not necessarily constitute a foul. Contact, which is incidental to an effort by a player to defend an opponent, reach a loose ball, perform normal defense or offensive movements, is not considered illegal. Play resumed with Indiana possession since Nesmith had imminent possession at the point of interruption. Now, we got to start there because I haven't had a chance to talk with anybody about this play at all. I'm still furious that the Celtics lost this game last night. What were your initial reactions to the play and also to the NBA doubling down that this was not a foul, despite the fact that LeBron James, of all people, came out and defended the Celtics, saying that it should not, that call should not have been reversed?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I felt like the contact was before he touched the ball. Like the whole point of this L2M is that he got the ball before the contact. It felt to me like the arm hit the head before the hand hit the ball, which is logical from where the contest. Sorry, we're on a smaller screen. The contest was coming from. The arm hit the head before the hand hit the ball, but apparently not. So I think that they got robbed. I saw somebody kind of comment earlier today saying that it felt like the refs were letting a lot of stuff go in both of these games when it came to the Pacers versus Boston, where the Celtics were getting a little bit more of an unfriendly whistle, which you expect at times. You know, they're the better team, they've got the more stars. But to me, this was bullshit. Like, this was game on the line. You go to a review, you make a decision, you reverse your decision. LeBron James comes out and tweets about it, saying that the refs are out of the refs got it wrong. I don't know what more you need, and then you release this L2M, you double down, you say, nope, we got it right. Put your hands up, say, bad man, me culpa, and we move on. But to double down on it like that, sir, I'm taking that as bullshit.
It's funny, Adam. You know who actually agrees with you? Buddy fucking Hield.
Like, you get what I'm saying?
He laughed about it. He told Joe Mazzulla. Talked about it in the locker room. He's like, yeah, I think I made contact. You want to know why? Because he did. Like, it's a very obvious miscall. And I'm with you on that last part, Adam. Like, how can you not just throw your hands up and be like, listen, guys, we missed that one. And this is something that, it's crazy to me that it was overturned. Like, it's wild. And this is part of the issue with review replay in general for me. And I think we've talked about this before. Why is this call being made by the people in the arena that can be affected by the crowd, like you talked about? And I do think at parts of that game last night, we already saw Aaron Nesmith, have a little bit of a revenge fest with getting people injured in game one. By midway through game two, I was kind of thinking, man, can we just get out of here safe? Like, I just want to get out of here because the game was being officiated loosely, let's say. Like, it was letting some contact go. And so, I've always said, like, when they go to an official review or a replay, why are we not having an arbiter somewhere in New Jersey or whatever that's sitting in a room looking at all this that is not influenced by the crowd or the surroundings, the settings? It makes no sense to me why they're not the ones making that call. And then on top of it, I think for me, because, like, listen, we can get into this. Celtics had plenty of chances to win this game in other ways. So I haven't been quite as upset. It's just a very blatantly missed call. I haven't been quite as upset about that because I just know it was the wrong call, regardless of what the NBA says. Nesmith having definitive possession makes no sense to me because the play was whistled as the foul was happening and the shot is going up. Everyone stops. Like, how is that not a jump ball? I don't understand how, like, I was shocked when they came back and I was like, oh shit, maybe the Celtics aren't going to get away and sneak out of here with a win. And all of a sudden Indiana was inbounding the ball from midcourt. And I was like, wait. Did I miss how this all transpired? To me, that's the part that I'm actually even somehow maybe a little bit more upset about than the blatant missed foul call.
Yeah, man, it's absolutely infuriating. Do you guys want to get even madder?
Go for it.
I mean, why not? It's late here. Well, I can get a bit angry.
With 0.6 sec, actually, with 2 seconds left, there was an incorrect no call where Miles Turner apparently committed an offensive foul on a screen on Derek White, so they missed that call. And then the Kristaps Porzingis foul on Benedict Mathurin. Here's what the NBA has to say about that. Porzingis is above the ball and legally contests Mathurin's shot attempt, with some incidental arm contact occurring concurrent with the block. Referees conducted a replay review to determine if the foul was called with no time remaining on the clock, and determined it was called before the expiration of time. The clock was reset with 0.6 remaining on the clock. The foul itself was not reviewable, was not a reviewable matter under this replay trigger. So
Why is it not reviewable? I don't get any of these stupid arbitrary rules. Like if you're looking at the time, why can't you reverse the actual play call?
I hear you, but the fact that they also got it wrong, because when I watched the Porzingis play, and I was like, "That's not a foul." If you're gonna call the foul on the other way, if you're gonna reverse that, it's the same concept, right? It's marginal contact. He blocks the shot. It was insane at the time that the back-to-back calls go against the Celtics, but the fact that it goes back-to-back against the Celtics in literally the last 2 plays of the game. Like they completely screwed the Celtics out of a victory. People that were wondering if Miles Turner fouled Luke Cornett, according to the NBA, on that last play, they deemed that correct no call. The contact was marginal. I don't think they should have called that. But here's the thing: the fact that they went to the monitor to review the time, saw that Porzingis didn't actually foul Mathurin. Right. If you believe in karma or whatever, the refs are doing the makeup calls, then maybe you give the Celtics the opportunity, because he was hitting the Cornett was hitting the head. Like, okay, we screwed up. Mathurin hit his 2 free throws. Luke Cornett, Mr. Ice in his veins at the free throw line. Give him a shot at the end of the game, because you got to make that right somehow. You can't go back to back bad calls and then not have the makeup call. If I'm the Celtics, I'm absolutely furious as a player, as a fan. Oh, man, I'm ready to fight. The next time that ref, what's his name, James Williams, the next time he comes to the Garden, he is going to get absolute hell.
Yeah, I mean, for me, you've hit everything on the head, right? You can't call one and not call the other, for one. So if you let one go, you have to let both of them go. For me, it was just bad officiating throughout the game, throughout the 2 games, really, for both of them. It just felt like they let things get a bit too physical, which is fine. I'm all for the physical play, but if you're going to start calling fouls on one side of the floor, you need to call them equally on both sides. It didn't feel that way. And I'm not one for blaming the refs, right? I'm like, yo, if the refs are against you, don't give them a reason to blow the whistle. That's kind of how I've always viewed it. But when it is the final 2 minutes of the game and it's back-to-back calls against you, and all of a sudden you're kind of backs against the wall against a team that can smell blood in the water, that just don't know when to quit because they're too young and too inexperienced to realize they've been beat. It's just tough, man. Like, yeah, I mean, what you meant to do?
You can't shake this one. It's tough to say, hey, we'll just shake it off, because it is the very last 3 plays, depending on how you want to look at it, right? So it directly influences the game. I'll be honest, I was just like, it was so ridiculous that it was hard for me to get too upset about, if I'm being honest. And then when I really look at like this game, like I think the Celtics had so many other opportunities to not even be in this position, right? Like you let up 44 points in the 3rd quarter after Halliburton goes down. They missed 9 free throws. That sequence leading up to, like, Greg, you and I were texting in a friend group chat when this was happening. I was like, man, we're lucky that we're going to get bailed out by this, because number one, Missoula should have taken a timeout once it was clear we didn't really have an organized plan in transition. Number 2, Jaylen Brown had Derek White wide open shot inside a triple team, and we were going to get bailed out. So for me, yes.
And then JB has to hit the free throws. Which
but do you trust Jaylen Brown? Do you trust Jaylen Brown to make that pass? Like
to make the pass? No. Last night I said to make the free throws last night. I did, just because he was on. But
it's so easy from where we're sitting to look down from that top down, that bird's eye view, and to be like, yo, Derek White's wide open. When you've got 3 6'6", 6'7", 6'8" dudes crowding you. Mm-hmm. To be able to not only know that pass is available, but to be able to hit that pass, which is most likely going to be a jump pass, which is contested by length.
With Neesmith waiting in the wings, right? He was
playing the passing lane.
So my issue is not Jaylen not making the pass on the baseline. The moment TJ McConnell comes over to double, the ball should have been out of his hands to Derek White. Right.
And that's where the Jason Tatum development came from, right? How quick he got the ball out of his hands on doubles. Brown hasn't been in those situations enough.
I'm more upset with
agree.
Missoula, to be honest. Like
I agree completely, man, because Jaylen has not been given any opportunities to really close games, right? It's always been Tatum, and even when it wasn't Tatum, it was Smart. When it wasn't Smart, it was Kemba. You know what I mean? Like Jaylen really hasn't gotten that opportunity. Jaylen got a lot of shit earlier in the year when Missoula, very similarly against the T-Wolves, did not call timeout. Jaylen shakes Jaden McDaniels, which is almost impossible to do, creates space, shoots a 3-point shot. A lot of people were upset he shot a 3. It's like, well, McDaniels is 6'10".
That was a good look.
I had no problem with that, right? That's really the one time that he was entrusted to do that. He gets this opportunity in a game. He's having one of the games of his life. He deserves the chance to close the game.
Yeah.
You hope that he still has that mentality like, oh, I've been making the right play throughout this year, and I've really shown that development. But these are the moments, the pressure cooker moments, that he needs those reps, right? If you're going to have him become the player that we want Jaylen Brown to become, he probably needs a few more of these reps. I think it's a great learning experience for him. I think you can go back and watch it, and they can talk about not the pass on the baseline, because I don't think that would have been a good pass, because if that gets picked off, then that's taken down the other way with 3 seconds left. And an NBA player
the Terry Rozier in reverse from like 3-4 years ago when he picked a pass off in Indianapolis and
then you think about like how the narrative changes then from Brown had a great game to Brown cost you the game, and what that does to the confidence and how he comes into moving forward with the games. I agree, but I do think that, you know, part of this was the product of not giving him the opportunities previously to develop in the way Tatum has, where it's like, yo, there's 2 on me, let me get the ball out of my hands, because now there's 3 on you, and one of them's playing that passing lane waiting for you to make that. So you have to then take the shot, regardless of how good or bad the shot is. You have to take it.
And he had made a great pass, as it's in the comments here before, to Kristaps, and so that's why for me, like I'm not concerned with JB passing, not passing, shooting, and like I wanted to see a play drawn. Like you said, Greg, correctly, JB should have had the ball in his hands to decide that game. I wanted to see a play drawn up for him to be successful. Like I don't think that was a successful. Like I don't mind taking.
Can I counterpoint real quick?
Hold on, let me just finish just real quick, because I don't think there was an issue with not taking the timeout, right? Because I think they secured the ball with like 12 or 13 seconds left on the clock. I got no problem not taking a timeout right away and seeing, hey, let's see what look we get in transition with this team. But it became very apparent to me by about that 8-9 second mark. Oh, we're not organized. We're in a pickup style free flow. Like there's enough time to correct that mistake then and say, okay, let's get 7-8 seconds of a good look as opposed to a disjointed look, which I think put JB in a bad position. Whereas Missoula could have taken the reins to then get JB in a position to be able to get the experience, but do so in a way that gives him a better chance for success. And then we should have ultimately been bailed out, which, you know, is the point of us talking here. But I think for me that was way more on Missoula than anything that JB did.
Quick counterpoint. We had just called a timeout and drawn up a play for JB a couple possessions before, right? We wanted to have one. Missoula really likes having one timeout for situations like what happened, right? We needed a timeout to advance the ball to then have a chance to tie the game with the alley-oop to Cornette, right? If we call the timeout there, JB misses a shot, maybe they score, then there's no time. We don't have a timeout,
maybe,
right?
But maybe you also set up the play to take the shot with no time left.
No, I hear you, but I think I don't necessarily blame Missoula for not taking the second timeout. He had just done it. He had just called a timeout. We drew up a play for JB, and he got the elbow jumper, and he missed it, right? So, like, I think it's, you know, you can blame Missoula for the last one, but he had just done it. So, you know, he wants to keep that last timeout. I don't really blame Missoula there. I do think that, you could call that timeout, but if JB just, one, if the call's called correctly, or 2, if he just makes the pass to Derek White, then Missoula looks like a genius, because the Pacers didn't have a defensive scheme set up. They panicked and sent 2 at JB, and JB passes the ball to Derek White, and it's a wide open 3. You know what I mean? So I think it goes both ways. I'm not really as upset in retrospect that Missoula didn't call that timeout.
There was only one play that should have been ran there, and that was winner. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that Brad Stevens genius play. I'll have to put a clip up. It's a play that Brad run. You'll recognize it straight away. It's called Winner. And I was being more facetious than anything. I think for me, the biggest issue for me was you call a timeout there. Everybody knows you're going to Jaylen Brown. You've gave Indiana time to set their defense. They're scheming against the ATO. And unless you're going to veer away from JB and kind of embrace the fact that if the shot misses, people are questioning why the ball weren't in Brown's hands. You're playing into exactly what Indiana want you to do. They tripled, they trapped that because they wanted that timeout. They wanted to be able to reset their defense and force Brown into where, the narrative of force him left or force him to a dead spot on the floor where he's not as effective. If you would have had to have drawn something up to get Kristaps or get Drew, and then maybe you have Brown as your secondary option when the defense collapses, it would have been tough. The time was against them. I think that Brown took the best option available to him, got fouled, didn't get fouled technically.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And this is where we are. It's a loss, and I'm okay with the loss. Like, this team's still got the best record in the league. Whatever. You're not going to win them all, but for me, the biggest issue was if you should have called the timeout, but you should have accepted that Brown wouldn't be your go-to guy in that moment, because that's exactly what Indiana was waiting for.
But that's also the beauty of the way this team is set up,
Exactly.
right? Is that Brown can be a decoy, because like we said, if he does get the ball, that's option one. Whatever play that you run, maybe that's option one. And then that's why you have Derek White, you have Kristaps, you have Drew Holiday, who was shooting the ball great last night as well. You have multiple options. So yeah, I would have liked to have just seen a little bit more structure. I think that would have been an appropriate time to do it. But like you said, it's one game. It's disappointing because Halliburton goes out, and you feel like that's a game the Celtics should have.
And TJ McConnell's the guy that really kind of killed us.
That's the most frustrating part, is that TJ McConnell dominated the third quarter with his peskiness. I don't know how else to describe it.
He scored on Drew Holiday in crunch time. He had the game time bucket on that spin move.
Him. Yeah, that's the part that's frustrating. Is that's just if there does get to a point where the Celtics are like, man, what's a game we could have had that would have separated us in a home court advantage situation or something, that you look at oh man, Halliburton went down and then we gave up 44 points to TJ McConnell in the third quarter against the Pacers and couldn't hit our free throws. By the way, what was up with the Celtics hitting free throws in both of these games? They were awful from the free throw line in both games.
It could be depth perception. We spoke about this during the bubble, if you remember. Depth perception is a real thing. If the lights are in a certain way and they're in your face, if I was
Kristaps got a finger in the eye, so I know what his excuse is. But everybody else, we gotta.
How do you feel about it? And I'm gonna end with this, right? Because it's getting late. But I see a lot of people like Neesmith a jealous bitch, Neesmith this, Neesmith that.
Yeah, Neesmith was catching some heat. These 2 games.
I'm like, yo, bro went to a situation where he could play, developed, became a regular a core rotation guy for one of the best young teams in the league. I don't see why he needs to be sad. I think he's very happy with how things turned out. Just the eye to Kristaps was, we saw Neesmith play for 2 years. Is it shocking that he's crashing into dudes and hurting them? Did we not learn from the 2 years that's how he plays? He's just a wrecking ball. Come on, man, give the guy a break.
Can I ask a question to people that are watching? And I want everyone, if you could respond in the chat or whatever, however you want to do it. Over under 2.5 serious knee injuries Aaron Neesmith causes in his career. I posed this question to Will. 2.5 serious knee injuries that Aaron Neesmith causes throughout his career.
Adam, Adam, what's your answer? Because I answered this on the last podcast.
Just because I'm an optimist, I'm taking the under.
I did too, but I said it's probably 2. This is the number. So it was kind of a hedge to a certain level.
Yeah, but I don't hate on Neesmith, man. I am very happy that he's finding success in Indiana, because I wanted him to find success in Boston. And he reminded me, staying in Boston, he's the reason. If he had stayed in Boston, the way that he plays is the reason why people would have loved him. But that's kind of the way it is. Once somebody leaves and they're on another team and they're doing all the shit that you loved when they're on your squad, like if the Celtics had grown up, if we had all grown up with Pat Bev, we would all have loved Pat Bev on the Celtics. He's my least favorite player in the NBA. Yeah. And Aaron Neesmith is kind of following on that train. He's doing what he needs to do to make a name for himself in the league. He got to be careful though, man, because he's going to piss off some people, and James Johnson ain't going to be around forever.
Yeah, that was a quick signing after that whole Bucks incident. But yeah, listen, Neesmith is to Adam's point and your point, Greg, we knew once he got more minutes, this is part of his game, right? Chaos, Crash Neesmith, like this was part of his game. And, he certainly plays against the Celtics with an extra chip on his shoulder. And that's just, that's probably just how he's wired, right? That's what motivates him. And you can see, like, he was screaming at one point, like 6 minutes left in the game. I think he had an and one at one point. And like, this is clearly something that means more to him. And so that, that Crash Neesmith in him comes out even just a little bit extra when he plays the Celtics. But fellas, this was fun. Last 2 minutes didn't go the way we want. Fun game overall. Like, had a good time last night watching this game despite the loss. Last 2 minutes, tough to swallow, but big week ahead. Minnesota on Wednesday night, tomorrow night, followed by Milwaukee. That's a tough back-to-back. And then Saturday, we get the Ime return game. So we'll have something for you guys coming up later this week on Green with Envy. Appreciate y'all checking in. We will catch you later. Peace.